We welcome you, ladies and gentlemen, to the Hockey Happy Hour. That is right, that is the Canadian national anthem with a bit of a rock edge to them because, quite frankly, hockey's always been about rock and roll, and it's always been about Canada. But nonetheless, the reason why we are playing that is because the Olympics are officially over, and you know who, with a maple leaf on their flag, are now gold medalists for the second straight time in the Olympics. They defeated Sweden, and Team Canada is now our Olympic champions. I am Matt Sensudi, here on the Hockey Happy Hour with my co-host, Rob the Povia, right up in here in front of me. Rob, what do you think about the Olympics?
It's bittersweet that they're over. I was really sad, and I'm always sad when the Olympics come to an end. But what I am happy about, returning to a normal sleep schedule. I already feel the bags under my eyes lifting right now as we speak.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Olympics were hell on your sleeping, that's for sure. Because, quite frankly, the Olympics, they were live at like 4 in the morning. Yeah. You know, because the time in Sochi is so far away from ours, it's ridiculous.
And as if anybody's out there following our Twitter handle, you saw my live updates during the game, so I tried to get up and watch them live as often as I possibly could.
Besides that, we've got a lot of interesting stuff coming up here on the show today. A quick rundown of the show. We're going to be talking about the Olympics and talking about what we saw, and we're going to give out some awards, because you know what we're going to do later? At the end of this NHL season, and even at the end of the Frozen Four, we're going to give off our best awards. And the best of awards meaning we're going to give off the biggest disappointment award, which is very prestigious. We're also going to give out the biggest shithead award.
Most prestigious.
Yeah, the most prestigious of them all, for the biggest asshole in the entire tournament for the Olympics. And there were plenty to speak from. And then, of course, the biggest surprise and upset of the tournament. And you can favor each way. It doesn't really matter, you know. And then the biggest no-brainer, basically meaning the most obvious thing that could have happened in the tournament that happened. And then the best player award, which of course is the tops of the top, meaning you were the best player in the entire tournament. Now, before we get into the awards of the Olympics, let's talk about the Olympics. Now, first off, we left off at the semifinals. Last week, we were in the quarterfinals, and we were getting ready for that. The qualification round was coming to a close. The quarterfinals were about to begin. Needless to say, the final 4 teams of the tournament were the United States, Canada, the 2 big North American powerhouses, and 2 big Scandinavian powerhouses, Finland and Sweden. Russia was nowhere to be found. Now,
they were watching the games with Putin.
Yeah, they were, with guns to their heads.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Finland and Sweden's game went back and forth a little bit, but it really ended in favor of Sweden. They were able to seal the deal on Finland. I believe the score was, 3-1, 4-1? 2-1? Okay.
It was close contest.
It was very close. I do know that. At the end of the day, Sweden was able to outlast an out-goalie duel. So Finland at the end of the day. I think it was Rask and Lundqvist battling it back and forth.
Actually, no, it wasn't Rask in that game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he caught the Sochi flu that was going around that morning.
So it was, it was Lehtinen. That's right. Lehtinen was in goal for Finland.
And that was the biggest difference in that game. Honestly, if Rask is in there, I say Finland wins this game.
Well, either way, that probably would have made the difference.
Yeah.
It probably would have, because Rask has been phenomenal for the Bruins this year, and he was phenomenal for Finland. So, nonetheless, with Lehtinen in, even though Lehtinen's a good goalie, he let in 2 goals, 1 goal too many, and Sweden won the day out and eliminated Finland to the bronze medal game, and they moved on to the gold medal match, did Sweden. So, the 2 Scandinavian powerhouses faced off, which meant the 2 North American powerhouses faced off in their semifinal matchup.
Right.
That was another goalie duel. The only difference is, it wasn't between Lundqvist and Lehtinen. It was between Jonathan Quick, and the star of the Montreal Canadiens for Team Canada, Carey Price. Carey Price and Quick went back and forth. They played phenomenal. Unfortunately, Quick let in a deflection goal, but it wasn't his fault. It's a deflection goal. You can't stop a deflection. It's just the way it is. It's impossible. If you could stop a deflection goal, you are the best goalie of all time. You beat Brodeur. That's basically if you can do that routinely.
It just showed that this whole tournament, the bounces, I mean, Canada didn't really need them going their way with all the talent, but they had all the bounces going their way.
They absolutely did. And at the end of the day, Canada, with that one deflection goal, beat the United States 1-0 and demoted the U.S. to the bronze medal match, which is a shame because both teams were playing extremely well, but I felt like the USA was playing better than Canada in the tournament, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, Jamie Benn on the deflection there put that goal up for Canada. And, ultimately with this game proved to me, size and defense beats a speedy, high-powered offense that the U.S. had. Honestly, their puck handling ability, speaking of Team Canada, it was too much for the U.S. to contend, and they just disappeared from that point on.
They did. They didn't have an answer after that. They really did.
I think they were tired.
They might have been because, I mean, you're playing nonstop for a good week or so. It does exhaust the batteries a little bit, and it's a high-pressure, games. High-pressure tournament, high-pressure situation because it's the Olympics. This is the world stage right here. You're dancing with the lights on bright internationally. It's one thing to do it when it's the Stanley Cup Finals. Biggest matchup for hockey in the U.S. and Canada, but internationally-wise, wow. That's huge. So nonetheless, make a long story short, Canada went on to the gold medal match. Bronze medal game between the United States and Finland ended tragically for the United States. They got absolutely spanked 5-0 by Finland. And Kimmo Timonen of the Philadelphia Flyer ilk got himself a bronze medal. And Finland themselves got a bronze medal with that. They did have Rask in goal for that game.
Yeah, luckily or unlucky for the USA.
Yeah,
he comes back against us and shuts us out 5-0.
Yeah. Nonetheless, though, the USA just didn't look good in that game. They really looked tired, and they just didn't play well in that bronze medal match. I think they were worn out from the game they played against Canada because they played a hard-working game against Canada. Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't result in them scoring, but they really played their butts off to try and get that goal and try and tie that game up.
I agree with you. Like I said, they looked tired, and that Canada game certainly took a lot out of them. But I think it was more than that. I really did. This game showed me what lack of character that the players had for Team USA after facing adversity. They got down quickly 2 goals, and they just threw in the towel. It seemed like they were like, okay, we're beat.
Yeah.
And it's like the bronze medal is something to play for. It's an Olympic medal. Okay, it wasn't the gold medal that you were shooting for, but it's an achievement. And I don't know. It seemed like a bunch of spoiled brats on the ice to me.
Well, I mean, Dan Belsman was the coach, so if anybody has experience with spoiled brats, it's certainly him.
That's right.
But nonetheless, Team USA got spanked. The Finns walked away with a bronze, and in the gold medal match, Sweden battled Canada, and Canada sharply took the gold medal. Sweden was dished the silver. And I'll tell you right now, after the way Sweden played that game, though, I'd still say, even though they walked away with the silver, that's a little disappointing in my opinion because Sweden could have done a little bit better than that. They just didn't look good.
Well, 20 minutes before the game, they were knocked a huge blow with Nick Backstrom being forbidden to play, and I'll be covering that during my awards. Little sneak preview there.
Good. Yeah, I mean, they did take a big loss, but again, they're another one that didn't show much character with adversity thrown at them. Yeah, they get adversity thrown at them, and they buckled under that, and Canada walked all over them and won themselves their second straight gold medal in the Olympics. So, I don't know. That's a bit disappointing in my book. I mean, Sweden might be a little bit higher on the podium than Finland, but I think Finland deserved that silver a hell of a lot more than Sweden does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they run into a buzzsaw called Carey Price, who you mentioned earlier.
True.
2 shutouts in a row to finish off the tournament in the semis and the finals.
I bet you right now Montreal's praying, where the heck is that, so.
They keep it going into the NHL season, that's for sure. That's for sure. But, I mean, in the end, Canada was too strong, with players like Taves and Crosby and Kunitz. he made up for getting. Tunins got drilled into the boards by Patrick Berglund of the St. Louis Blues earlier in the game, and he came back and scored that third goal there, kind of give a final bah. But I mean, it was just no contest. Canada just dominated this team, to win the gold medal, and they were the first team to win gold undefeated since 1984 in the Sarajevo games. That was done by the Soviet Union, the former
Soviet Union. And we'll be covering them in our awards soon. That's another quick preview coming up. But nonetheless,
I just thought that was interesting. That was a nice stat that no team had been undefeated all the way to the gold medal since then.
Well, then it's fitting that Canada pulled it off. Because strangely enough, if the U.S. had actually won that gold medal in 2010, they would have been undefeated winning that gold medal because they didn't take a loss in that tournament.
Yeah.
Because they beat Canada in their group stage match.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to note. So, the Olympics being over, we've gotten our official Olympic medals handed out. Now it's time to hand out the official Hockey Happy Hour awards for basically just different tournament categories that we feel need to be addressed. And the first one we're going to give out is the biggest disappointment. Now, I'm going to give off mine first, and I've got a few nominees that fall under this, but they don't, if anything, they take the bronze and the silver. They don't get the gold for this. The bronze definitely is going to, I would have to say, so it would go to Sweden because at the end of the tournament, for them to play the way they did, that was very disappointing in my book. They take the bronze for that because that's just bad. You could play better than that. That's just absolutely horrible. You don't end a tournament like that, especially the Olympics.
Right.
You really don't.
Absolutely.
The silver goes to the Czech Republic for being complete retards and the way they structured their team.
Yeah.
Because they absolutely were atrocious in this tournament.
What, the average age, 52?
Yeah. They get Nedved and Jágr, and they're hoping that they'll do something. Jágr at least had a goal. Nedved did nothing.
Right.
So, I mean, it was absolutely horrible. And then the gold goes to the biggest disappointment, Team Russia. It has to happen. I mean, the Czech Republic definitely would deserve the gold too, but Russia's got to have it because you are home. Your players don't play well. You look like crap. You played like crap. Quite frankly, you are garbage on home ice. You're the biggest disappointment in the tournament. Go hang yourself for it. That's absolutely horrible,
Yeah, home ice, you got to take advantage of that. So many NHL and KHL stars on that team.
And this is the Olympics.
Very disappointing.
It only comes around every 4 years.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that shot back in a long time. And for the players who are pros, probably period, you're not getting that shot back.
It's looking that way. It is looking that way, especially the biggest proponent now is the New York Islanders and Gar Snow because they've lost Tavares for the rest of the year.
Well, the Islanders probably weren't going to make the playoffs anyway. So
yeah, probably not. But still, I mean, it is another indication. And actually, the IOC, I read this last night, is actually reimbursing the Islanders some money.
Well, I could imagine that because it is a big loss in revenue for them, and it's also a big loss at the fact that Tavares is the New York Islanders. He will be for quite some time, poor guy. But, the Islanders need Tavares like humans need air.
Yeah.
It's really that bad for them over there.
He's their best talented player, their captain. Absolutely. So you're saying your biggest disappointment was Team Russia?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn. What were you got any nominees, or are you just going to go right to the winner?
I'm going to go right to the winner. I mean, obviously, besides Russia, that was a huge disappointment playing on home ice and, not even making it past the quarterfinals. But I'm going to go with us, the USA. I think that was really the biggest disappointment. Not that, I had all this fanfare and I was disappointed. I mean, obviously I got patriotism, but it's just the biggest disappointment was they were dominating the competition. And it wasn't like it was light competition they were playing against. Huge competition and just
they got that big win on Russia and everything, and we thought that, man, they really got a chance to do something good here, and they fizzled out real fast.
Yeah, and it's okay. The 1-0 game, I respect that. That's a close contest against a strong Canadian team.
Yeah, you can't, no harm, no foul. You can't win that, you know?
But it was how they played that game in the third period. There was just no gusto, no heart, which I criticized Russia for not having, and previously on our past show praised the USA for having. it just drained right out of them, and it was just. It carried on into the bronze game. Like I said before, they were playing like they were salty little spoiled brats that didn't get the gold medal.
Should have made the safe bet and said that the heart was in Canada.
Yeah.
But anyway,
but
it was ridiculous. Just the fact that they should have been able to do more and they didn't do more. And I thought they were going to bronze, and I really felt like, okay, if this team does medal, that's a great thing. And I thought, okay, this defensive team could probably bronze. Be really hard to see them get the gold, and that's why I said it'd be hard for them to get the gold, because they're running smack dab right into Canada and stuff like that. But when they went up into that bronze medal match and they just didn't play with any heart, they didn't play with any speed, they didn't play with anything,
right.
I thought, well, I guess that means that you guys just didn't want it as badly as you said you did.
That's part of it. I mean, I wasn't absolutely that sure that USA was going to beat Finland in that bronze medal. I mean, they're coming off 3 Olympic medals in a row. Now, this being their 4th Olympic medal in a row, Finland, deserved to be there. They deserved to win that medal.
I have no problem with Finland winning it. I didn't think that Finland couldn't. I just thought that the way that the USA was playing, they were playing well, conservative, smart, and high on offense. I thought, okay, we could go goal for goal with Finland. Apparently, we couldn't. So, it was just very disappointing to see how that tournament ended.
I hear what you're saying, too, because that's how they built their team, was around speed and goal scorers rather than tough-nosed players like for example, a Bobby Ryan.
Which is very different than what we saw in the 2010 team. That 2010 team was nose to the grind, in your face, and if you tried to mess with us, we're going to beat you down, you know, which served the U.S. a lot better in 2010.
Yeah.
But then again, also, it was in Vancouver, and the rinks were smaller. So, there's that. And that does play a factor, and we don't ever take that into account.
Beautiful point.
All right. We now move on to, I'm not going to do the biggest shithead yet. We'll save that for later.
Awesome.
Let's do the biggest no-brainer award.
Okay.
And the biggest no-brainer, my nominees were basically Sweden medaling. I thought that was going to happen. And then to go along with that, seeing Team Canada get a win. They actually are the winners. Team Canada winning that whole gold medal. It was too obvious. It's too easy to pick Canada. That's like a safe bet.
Too easy.
It is. It's way too easy. I mean, anybody can pick Canada. Anybody can say right now, oh, yeah, I pick Canada. Like, yeah, you and half the world could pick Canada, and you wouldn't be that far off.
Congratulations, Swami.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, come on now. And so I thought that's the biggest no-brainer, Canada winning a 2nd straight gold medal in the Olympics. It really isn't.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a no-brainer. Right. I don't know about you, but that's my biggest no-brainer right there.
I'm just going to get right to the point. That's my no-brainer as well. I tried to be hopeful for Sweden, and they were my dark horse in winning the gold medal, and being that they did medal, obviously I agree with you. No-brainer that they would be in the top 3, and indeed they won the silver medal. The problem with winning the silver medal is you don't really win a silver medal. You lose to get a silver medal. So yeah. I'm just not sure where that sits.
It used to be where the tournament, you did have to compete for the silver medal. Mm-hmm. It used to be back then where if you did lose in the gold medal match, you were at risk to not medaling at all.
Right.
So,
which I prefer that format much better, because that way you feel like you won that silver medal. I mean, by now they should be feeling the notoriety. I would hope so, because that is a great accomplishment, an accomplishment that the USA cannot identify with this year. Yeah. But yeah, my no-brainer, I tried to, overlook Canada's strong lineup in terms of their gold medal prospectus, but obviously they held on and now are back-to-back gold medalists, as you said before.
Yeah, and they earned it. They earned it. Can't say that they didn't. All right, so the biggest no-brainer. Now let's talk about the biggest. Let's go to the biggest surprise and upset. And for me, the biggest upset actually was Latvia. Latvia beating Switzerland shocked me. Huge. I thought Switzerland was going to beat Latvia and move on to the next round, and Latvia came to play. And this is a tough award to give out because there was a couple of surprises. Actually, there were 3 surprises that really kicked in high gear. One of them definitely being Slovenia.
Yep.
But my award definitely going to Latvia for the biggest upset. What about you?
Yeah, my biggest upset was certainly Slovenia getting their first win and getting into the quarterfinals. That is for certain. But I went for my ultimate award here, focusing more on the surprising element.
Okay.
Yeah, the biggest surprise, just to be a little different. And My biggest surprise, as I alluded to before, is 20 minutes before the gold medal game, Nicholas Backstrom is informed by the IOC officials that he failed a drug test and would not be able to compete. He had to be scratched. Now, do you know what he failed the drug test for?
Was it for marijuana?
No. It was for allergy medication.
Really?
Yeah, one of the chemical components in the allergy medication apparently appeared on the list of banned substances.
Really?
And that's why the IOC, and it really shows, and there's been a lot. Yep.
So there was no irresponsibility. It was just some BS that basically kept him out.
In a sense, yes, but every player that's participating in the Olympics needs to be aware of the banned substances and know what they can and cannot take. So, Backstrom should take responsibility for that. But the more the issue is when they told him. This drug test was not done 20 minutes before the game. This was done during following the previous hockey game that they had played against USA. And they waited till 20 minutes before the contest to tell them. So they couldn't make any changes. It really left them shorthanded, and Backstrom was one of their best players. They were already shorthanded so much due to injury, and then you're going to take Backstrom. I knew as soon as I heard that, I'm like, you might as well just wrap the gold medal and give it to Canada now. Why play the game? I mean, Lundqvist can make anything happen, but...
Yeah, but Backstrom is Backstrom. That's a key player right there. Lundqvist can snag you a game, but try doing that against an overloaded team like Canada.
Right.
It's one thing to do it to the Capitals or something,
Well, I just really hope the flack that the IOC is getting over this absurdity really leads to them updating their drug testing process.
I think the IOC is to blame for this because they decided not to make a move until that time.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I think it is also a failure on Team Sweden's part for not addressing this issue and letting them know that this is banned, you can't have this, and not checking things. You've got to double check in the Olympics because the Olympics is the most safeguarded drug program. It's the toughest drug program in the world. If you are even remotely considering using performance enhancers or doing any kind of substance at all that is illegal or banned, you could get banned for life from the Olympics, meaning you could never again compete in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, this doesn't matter anymore because, quite frankly, the NHL pros probably won't be coming back. But still, the point is, you have to have pre-knowledge. Knowledge is power in this case.
Yeah.
And they didn't have it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's ridiculous.
And your man's just trying to take care of his allergies while he's overseas, and already a swarm of players being affected by congestion from the Sochi flu that was going around. Man, I wish the answer was the man got banned for smoking a joint or something like that.
That at least would put some dignity there. But
yeah.
And the sad part is this is not Backstrom's fault, in my opinion. How is Backstrom supposed to know? His organization of Sweden didn't tell him, nor did the IOC until it was too late. That is not Backstrom's fault. The poor guy didn't know.
Yeah, but you got to find out if you're participating. I mean, I hear what you're saying. The organization,
it's their still responsibility.
Yeah, but it really is because he could have been taking this back to the hotel. Team has no knowledge of it. Yada yada.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, I'm not saying that Backstrom is completely innocent in this, but I am saying that there's got to be a certain point where it can't just be Backstrom's fault.
Right.
The organization had to screw up in this regard. They can't be sitting pretty on this.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They burn the blame.
All right. So we move on from that. The biggest surprise and upset, mine was Latvia. Yours was Backstrom getting thrown off of Team Sweden before their gold medal match. And now we go to our interesting one, the biggest shithead award. And, mine was tough to pick because there's so many people I could have picked, namely on a certain home team on the Olympics. I'm going to go with Malkin because he didn't do a thing. Ovechkin scored. Datsuk scored. Kovalchuk scored. Who didn't score here? Malkin. Who did nothing on Team Russia? Malkin.
Yeah.
I could have picked any one of those players of Ovechkin and Kovalchuk, and I could have been still dignified for giving them the biggest shithead. But I think Malkin gets it because he did jack crap. He didn't do a damn thing for Team Russia. I'm not alone in this. Team Russia was crappy. They were sloppy. And Malkin is to blame, as well as Ovechkin and Kovalchuk, and a lot of the prima donnas that they had running around on this Russian team with all that pressure on them, and they cracked under it.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I don't find like more of like when I thought of this award, biggest shithead, like who rises like hatred. Like I don't have hatred. I love how he didn't show up, but the thing of it is that yeah, shithead due to not performing under the pressure.
And he gets the shithead award because he basically took a crap on all the Russian people that he was representing by not playing as best he could in the tournament.
Right.
You know, and I don't care. Well, you could say, oh, well, it's different from the NHL. It's like, okay, fine, it's different from the NHL. It's cleaner. Yeah, I get that. But guess what? You're still a skilled player. That shouldn't affect how you play. If anything, that should help you.
I hear you.
I mean, come on now. There's only so much that can be blamed on the actual system. It's got to be a lot goes on you. If you can't step up your game, it's your fault.
I hear you. I still think the biggest shit on that team is Kovalchuk, especially when he celebrated after that goal. Like
yeah,
he just won the gold
I was
going
to give it to Kovalchuk, but I thought, you know what? At least Kovalchuk can say that he scored and he tried to put as much effort as he could into the game. He did. You can't say he didn't. He's an ass. But still, I mean, he did try to score. He did try to help out Team Russia.
I got it. So if the word was biggest douchebag, Kovalchuk wins
Kovalchuk would have gotten it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, but because Malkin didn't show up to play, you know, that gets him the biggest shithead award.
All the Devils fans are cheering right now, hearing that about Kovalchuk. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And all the Penguins fans are cheering for all of the crap that I'm saying about Malkin right now.
Yeah, I don't think so. But yeah, no, that's a good pick, though. That's definitely a good pick with Malkin. For me, I'm going to go a little deeper here, and my biggest shithead was Slovenia's Kovacevic.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're going to go to the unobvious answer here. All right, then. Mm-hmm. All right.
Because I watched a lot of Slovenia's games as being like a young upstart team in this tournament, and this man was constantly headhunting the whole tournament. Matter of fact, he laid a guy out and got suspended one game due to having. Man, I'm saying doo doo a lot today. I gotta stop that. We're gonna have to edit that out.
Doo doo.
But he raised up the elbow and gave the man a nasty concussion, and
that is also illegal in the NHL too.
Yeah. And then you'd think he'd learned his lesson. Came back the very next game, headhunting it. I guess it's the type of player he is, but honestly. You know, this is a tournament of sport to celebrate the sport. This isn't I mean, I understand that hitting's part of the game.
And you play to win. I get that.
You play to win.
Yeah.
But unlike other leagues, we're not out here to injure people in the Olympics. That's just disgusting.
I don't understand. How could this man get on a national team and that's what he's going to do? You represent your country in the worst way possible.
Yeah.
That's just unprofessional, unsportsmanlike, and it's not needed. It's not wanted, neither.
And you know what it did? It took away from the speciality of what Slovenia accomplished this year.
Slovenia
really
deserves a lot of respect, but it also has to get some respect taken away from it. Mm-hmm. Latvia gets to keep all of its respect that it earned this year. And Slovenia can't say that. You know, so that definitely doesn't, you know, I understand completely why you give him the biggest shithead award. And that's shithead for unsportsmanship. Mine is for not stepping up to the plate when the time is needed, and then yours is for unsportsmanlike conduct, and definitely deservingly so, because that elbow is just as illegal in the NHL as it is in the Olympics.
Exactly. And the Olympics is all about sportsmanship.
Mm-hmm. You know, it absolutely is, and it's a cleaner game.
Yeah.
Much cleaner game.
Yeah, I hope when 4 years comes around, they consider keeping this scumbag off their team.
Absolutely, because he doesn't represent Slovenia the way Slovenia should be represented.
Yeah.
Now, and they have a lot to be happy for because they got guys like Anze Kopitar who's playing in the NHL and plays at a high level. They don't need that on their team.
That's right.
They really don't.
That's right.
All right, well, now that we've gone through all of our preliminary awards, it's time for our Best Player Award. This is the best player we thought throughout the entire tournament and who we thought really earned it. And mine is on Team USA. It goes to Jonathan Quick.
Wow.
He had a really bad game against Finland, but take that away, he had a solid tournament, and he did extremely well. And I don't think Quick is to really blame for how they played against Finland. The team is to blame for how they played against Finland. And give Quick a bit of a break. He only didn't play one game. Miller only played one game. So he played every other match. So, I mean, he had to be tired by the end of that. So Quick, I think he deserves the best player in my book because he did a great job for Team USA, and he really brought a lot of respect to there. And I trusted Quick, and I think if we had played better, Quick probably would have been able to take us to the promised land. I really think so.
Oh, yeah. That's a great pick. That is absolutely a great pick.
Yeah, the games speak for themselves, especially that game against Russia. He did a solid job. After getting scored on by Kovalchuk twice, he didn't buckle down under the pressure. He kept going.
Yep.
So
didn't get thrown off by that third goal that was disallowed, or the 8 or 9 rounds of shootout that they went into.
And then he came back the next game and he played phenomenal.
Yeah.
So give him where credit is due.
Great pick. When you started talking about your pick, best player being from Team USA, I would have bet money that you were talking about Phil Kessel. But, yeah, Quick is a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, I would go with Phil Kessel, but after he scored that hat trick, he kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
he got a lot of his stats early.
Yeah, and he kind of didn't show up when we needed him to, which is a shame because I'm all for you doing what you can to make your team good, and I'm all for you getting a hat trick early. That's fine. I got no problem with that, but don't waste all your goals early. Save some for later because you're going to need it.
Yeah, that's true in terms of offensive stats. I mean, the man was carrying this team even in their semifinal and bronze medal losses. He never lost that energy.
No,
he never lost
didn't.
that heart.
No.
But yeah, he did get shut down like the rest of the team there. So, yeah, I was teetering between him and the ultimate winner that I picked for best player. Were you finished speaking about Quick?
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, I was teetering, and you know what? Again, I went with a little deeper seated horse here. I went with Michael Grabner from Team Austria.
Okay, that's not a bad pick because Grabner did play the best. He was the best player on Team Austria this past tournament.
Close. I mean, Raffel almost challenged him for that
Raffel
role.
almost challenged him, but I definitely think Grabner deserves it. Absolutely.
Yeah, on last night's Flyers game coming back from the break, they were mentioning that Raffel was the best player on Team Austria. I'm like, did you watch Grabner at all? He was, obviously Austria
Grabner was everything in the kitchen sink for Austria. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough.
Right.
But, you know, he was everything that they could need and more. You know?
Team Austria didn't go as far in the tournament as some of these other teams we spoke of.
Which they could be considered a disappointment because they're usually getting out of the qualification round. Now, they don't usually get any further than the quarterfinals, but that's still kind of disappointing for them.
Right, absolutely. And but during their length of time, he was still tied for most goals in the tournament, just played inspired hockey, and like most Olympians coming back to the NHL strong, scored another 2 goals shorthanded on the same penalty kill last night in the Islanders game. It was, unbelievable. But anyway, we're speaking about the Olympics here, and I really feel that Michael Grabner best exemplified what this tournament's about, and his numbers speak for himself. I think he was the best player in the tournament.
I could believe you. I could definitely believe you with Michael Grabner deserving the best player award. So we gave out our awards. We're definitely going to be posting these up on Facebook and on the Twitters. So if you feel free to put your own best awards out there and in the same categories too, feel free to give us your best one. And if you want to, give us an extra one. Give us one that's like, well, what about the best team award, which we didn't give out? But you know what? Feel free to. We might give out the best team award later, but you know what? If you want to, feel free to do so. But again, give us your best disappointment, your biggest shithead, feel free to give us your opinion on that because we always love our fans' opinions. We really do because you're the lifeblood of this show. That is for sure. Now, with the Olympics coming to a close, that means it is time for us to get back into the NHL. That's right. The National Hockey League is back. It's in full gear, and they started playing yesterday, and a lot happened yesterday.
Yeah.
A lot of good, and more locally, a lot of bad. But let's get into what we saw yesterday for the scores on Thursday, because let's see what we got yesterday with our first official day back in the NHL, which I do believe was Thursday.
Yeah, it was a full docket. There was one makeup game, I believe, played on Wednesday in Buffalo.
There were 4, but it wasn't like the full day. It's like real back into the full swing of things here on Thursday.
There was only 4 games last night?
There was only 4 games on
wow.
Wednesday. There was only 4 games on Wednesday. There's a ton here on Thursday.
Oh, there were 4 games on Wednesday.
There were 4 games on Wednesday,
gotcha.
but everything's back into the big swing of things here on Thursday.
Right.
But let us get into what we saw this past Thursday. Yesterday, the New Jersey Devils got a win on the Columbus Blue Jackets 5-2. So the Devils coming back in high gear, getting a big win. The New York Islanders getting an OT win on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So Islanders showing a bit of feistiness. They are still trying to battle for a playoff spot because of how bad the Metropolitan Division's been this year. They still have a shot at making it to the playoffs. A very slim shot, but they have a shot. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the New York Rangers, they actually got a win on the Chicago Blackhawks. So they got a 2-1 victory on the Blackhawks.
Sweet.
Gaining 2 points and holding themselves high in their second place standing.
Always love seeing the Blackhawks lose.
The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Montreal Canadiens battled out, went to a shootout, and 6-5. The Montreal Canadiens still kind of being a bit of a jinx to the Penguins. They got a win on them, 6-5. That's impressive right there for the Canadiens. Getting a 6-5 win on the best team in the Metropolitan Division. That's not easy to do.
It is not.
And then Detroit wound up getting a 6-1 thrashing onto the Ottawa Senators. The Senators absolutely look bad coming out of the gate. We know what that's like. We'll get to that in a minute. Washington faced off of Florida. Washington defeated Florida 5-4. That's a high-scoring game. A lot of high-scoring games coming off of the Olympics.
Yeah.
We got a ton of high-scoring games here. I mean, we get 5s all across the board here. We got 6s here. 7s. Like, that's not usual for the NHL. That really isn't.
I think it's a combination of a lot of the players that participated were playing at high gear, and a lot of the players that did not participate were not.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Tampa Bay against Nashville. Nashville got a 3-2 win. That's a normal score right there. Winnipeg and Phoenix went to a shootout. Winnipeg got a 3-2 victory on Phoenix. And as for the Carolina-Dallas game, Carolina took a loss 4-1 to Dallas. Dallas absolutely destroyed Carolina. Los Angeles going up against Calgary. Los Angeles got a 2-0 shutout on Calgary. Jonathan Quick still playing at top gear. Gets a 2-0 shutout when he returns.
Here.
Minnesota and Edmonton battling out the final game before we get to our local. Minnesota got a 3-0 win on the Edmonton Oilers. Now we go to the Flyers and the San Jose Sharks. Now, I went to the game last night, and I will say, I usually do not go free or paid, which I did get the tickets for free. Thank you, Greg, my neighbor, for the tickets.
Nice.
But I usually do not like going to prison scenes and watching grown men get raped. But that's exactly what I saw when I went to the Wells Fargo Center last night. The Flyers were absolutely crushed by the San Jose Sharks, 7-3. And in the first period, you would not think that this would happen, because the Flyers walked away with a 2-1 lead at the end of the first period. Now, I was shocked, disappointed, horrified, disgusted, maybe want to vomit with how I saw the Flyers play that game. They played like shit! And I mean it. They did. You guys sucked ass. You have nothing to be proud of off of that game. Go fuck yourselves for how you played that game.
Wow, you're a little pissed, huh?
Yes, I am. I went to that game, and I wanted to see my Flyers, not those imposters that dare call themselves the Flyers that night. That was atrocious.
Yeah.
I don't like going to see prison rape, and that's exactly what I saw.
The first period wasn't bad.
First period wasn't bad, but the rest was a prison scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's no excuse. I mean, you're coming back. You know you're playing one of the top teams in the league. You know they're going to be gunning for you because we beat them pretty handily 5-2 in their building before the Olympics.
Into the Olympic
yeah,
break.
And they were coming, and they got their revenge and then some. Now, was it all the Flyers playing poorly? I don't think so. The Sharks definitely, after they were getting their ass handed to them a little bit early in the game, came back in that second period, and whatever their head coach said, they took it right to the net, and a lot of it was their good play. But where did the defense go?
The defense disappeared. Yeah. I mean, the Flyers' defense, let's just throw this out there right now, and it's been this way. This is no surprise to Flyers fans. Our defense is a fucking joke.
Yeah.
It's been a joke for the beginning of the season. It's been a joke since the Flyers had started doing better. They're still a joke. I counted 5 2-on-1 rushes down on the Flyers' end. 5 2-on-1s. Most teams give up 1 per every 3 games.
Right.
not 5
Yeah.
in one game.
Yeah.
That is atrocious. That is unacceptable. That is disgusting. You don't play like that. That is horrible. And they've been guilty of that they've been guilty of that 2-on-1 multiple rush thousands of times this season. They're not getting off the hook that easy. It wasn't just this game. It was the game that they beat the Sharks. It was the game they beat the Penguins. It was the game that they've played, period. They have given up 2-on-1s. I am so sick of that. What is wrong with your game? Your transition game is absolute garbage if you are playing like that. You can't pinch on the boards. They can't pinch on the boards at all because that's what's happening down at the other end.
Yeah. I mean, it shows lack of practice, lack of preparation. I mean, obviously, coming back from the break, they got to get a few more practices in. They will play better.
The sad part is they looked so good going into the break.
Mm-hmm.
They looked like this team's playing well. They've got everything going for them. They got 2 wins at home. They didn't complete the hat trick in California, but they got 2 big wins on the Kings and then on the Sharks. You thought, all right, they got the Avalanche back for what happened in Colorado. They beat down on Calgary, which is what you should do because Calgary's rebuilding.
Yep.
What happened in the break? Did your balls fall off? Like, seriously, what the hell happened?
It just, maybe they should have been getting together and practicing a little bit. Anybody that didn't participate in the Olympics, which was quite a good amount of the team, us only sending 5 over there.
Nonetheless, if I'm Craig Berube, I'm still ripping them a new asshole.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
Yeah, there is no excuse. Oh, yeah, I guess I am coming up with excuses for him, and there is no excuse. I mean, when they gave up the first goal, and then when they got those 2 quick ones,
they responded.
They responded, and I was like, all right, we're keeping that momentum from before the break. Nope.
Because by that second period, they were caught in their heels. They had nothing they could do. They looked like crap, and they played like crap.
Yeah.
And then, don't get me started on Emery. Oh, my God. Emery played like absolute shit. You are sugar shit, Emery. You were horrible. You don't give up a goal. This is a goal he gave up. Flew through the air. Puck's flying through the air. Thought he caught it. He didn't. It falls right through his jersey, goes through his 5-hole, scores. What the hell was that?
Yeah, his head was not in that game. You got to, as being the backup, Mason started that game. You got to be ready to be thrown in there, and he mentally wasn't ready.
Mason played better than him, and Mason didn't play all that well.
Yeah.
Mason gave up 4 goals before he got taken out,
yeah.
and then Emery gives up 3 more.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
It's this guy. Hey, keep on playing like that, and Flyers will be on the outside looking in come playoff time.
Oh, yeah. It won't take long before Columbus catches. That's for sure.
Yeah. Or the Rising Devils, too. They've been one of the NHL's hottest teams before and after the break now.
That is very true. And the Devils still have just as much a shot as anybody else in this Metropolitan Division because this Metropolitan Division has been absolute ass this whole year.
Absolutely.
But nonetheless, the Flyers have no excuse. I mean, I don't care. Olympic break or not, you have to come out of the break, and you still got to play at least like you know what you're doing. They didn't even look like they know what they were doing. And I don't care if you didn't play for 2 weeks. I get that. Fine, you didn't play for 2 weeks. Guess what? There's a lot of Sharks that didn't play on their national teams, too. Did Thomas Hertl play on his team? No. Did Vlasic play on Team Canada? No. Well, actually, no, he did. But did Couture? No. Logan Couture didn't play on Team Canada.
No.
Did Pavelski? Yeah. Which reminds me, Pavelski got his hat trick. Whoop-de-doo for Pavelski. Congratulations. Where the hell was that hat trick for Team USA, you jackass?
Yeah, we could have used that against Finland for sure.
Yeah, that's my one gripe against Joe Pavelski. Where the fuck was that goals when Team USA needed it? You can go screw yourself for that. Betray your country and play better for the Sharks. How dare you?
Hey, it's all about the money. It's not about the patriotism anymore.
That's a good point. We are Americans. Yeah. But anyway, but nonetheless, the Flyers have no excuse. Because not all the Sharks are playing on their national team. Even the Sharks who didn't play looked better than the Flyers who didn't play on the Olympics. It was absolutely horrible. And Timonen didn't play that night. And here's Timonen's excuse. He's too tired. Oh, grow up. How long you been playing hockey? You're 40-something years old. And most of that's been spent in an orange and black jersey. You know what comes with the orange and black jerseys? No fucking excuses.
Yeah, I mean, we are in a race here, and every point counts right now, and I agree with you on that. But, Chemo is one of our ambassadors. Really, I thought it was classy by the Flyers organization, giving him the night off. He had him, in suit and tie in the building. They had a display with his jersey all signed by the team and the bronze medal. So he got to kind of enjoy the moment coming back to his home arena by the fans and the organization alike. So I'm not as pissy about that move, but yeah, every point counts, fellas.
Yeah, this is crunch time. There's no All-Star break. You know what was the All-Star break? The Olympic break. That's over. Now you got to start playing like there's no tomorrow. Because guess what? There pretty much isn't from here on in.
Oh man, jet lag's a bitch though, man. Even Jonesy was drowsy during the broadcast, yawning a couple times. It's hard.
Well, I mean, Jonesy was broadcasting almost every game for the Olympics because he was NBCSN.
Yeah.
So working for like 3 different networks.
I'm glad you brought that up
because
they like alternated between Ronick and Jones like the whole tournament, depending on whether it was ladies or men.
2 former Flyers, might I add, which is kind of funny. Yeah,
absolutely, and it was an interesting dynamic them rotating in. Was it Ian McEwick or McHugh?
I think it was Ian McHugh.
McHugh and the gorgeous Catherine Tappan. Oh my goodness, man. You know that she's married to a former San Jose Sharks player, and man, that man is
Owen
lucky.
Nolan?
Yeah, not Owen Nolan. No, little guy. I forget his name. I looked at it the other day. But speaking of hot chicks, really quickly. I don't want to throw us off our pace here, but did you happen to see the chick that was dancing in the stands during the intermission during the Finland USA game? It was the highlight of that game for me.
I actually didn't. I was so pissed at the United States, I actually turned it off.
Yeah.
By this point.
Yeah. This was. I think this was. It was. Yeah, we were down 2-0 at the time, and I could see that. I could certainly see that.
I saw that they weren't playing well, and I thought we're not going to win this game.
Oh my God, man! Such a she's so hot. If you're out there and you're listening, man, keep on doing what you're doing because you're beautiful. And the cameraman. Great job, buddy. Yep. Anyway.
That man gets a raise.
Yeah, definitely.
He gets a raise. I don't care how much money you got to put him up to. Pay him as much as Bob Costas. I don't care. Anyway, so the NHL being back, the Flyers basically absolute garbage. I'm just hoping whatever happened last night, they take out on the Rangers on Saturday because that's the next game coming up. But speaking of the Rangers, trade rumors are about to start kicking in high gear because guess what? The NHL trade deadline is right around the corner, which does kick in March. And just like the Frozen Four, it's usually the biggest center point of hockey fans. Well, maybe college hockey fans more for the Frozen Four, but the point is that the NHL trade deadline is always the point where the rumors start flying. People are always wondering, hey, you know who's going where? You know, who's the buyer and seller? You know, and that's what we're going to get into a little bit. We'll get a little bit more into the buyers and sellers after the break, but first we're going to get into some of the trade rumors that have been kicking in high gear lately, and the first one we're going to get into is Ryan Callahan. Callahan has been talked about being put on that trade deadline and be on the trading block for quite some time, and I've seen this coming because I don't think Callahan has done a whole hell of a lot for the Rangers in recent years. Being the captain, he has been the most unhelpful captain that the Rangers could possibly have had.
Oh, I disagree, man. I disagree huge.
Well, not in history.
Well, I mean, he hasn't been the greatest captain in Rangers history, but this guy blocks shots like it's his job, and it is his job.
I get that he's blocking shots and everything, but when it comes time for the big goal and it comes time for leading by example, I really don't see it.
Yeah.
I really don't. And don't get me wrong, he does take one for the team. I'm fine with that. Take one for the team all you want. That shows leadership. But does he really ever throw the body around all that much? I don't see it.
Oh,
and then
not
at the same
time,
no, I get that's not a style of game. But even Giroux, that's not his style of game. But he does throw the body around when it's necessary.
That's a good point.
Chara still does, although that was Chara's job really back when he was a senator. But even Crosby, even his pussy ass does throw the body around, even though he's not tough at all when it comes time to. I mean, point is that I just don't see his leadership quality as much as I see other captains in the league.
Well, you're right in terms of the big goal. Your cap, you have to lean on your captain. You're down 3-2 late in the third.
Yeah.
He comes through, ties up the game, sends it to overtime, what have you. I just think in terms of leading by example, as a captain should, he really does all the intangibles that really make for
that's fine, but I think that a captain needs to do more,
right?
And you do see captains in the NHL do more than just the intangibles. They're not just they're the third line player. Oh no, they're not just the second line nose grinding player.
Right.
They're also the goal scorer when need be. They're also the checker when need be. They even get into a fight when need be. You know. Think about it. When Mike Richards was captain of the Flyers, he got into a fight one time with one of the Capitals, I believe, and that sparked the Flyers right up and said, hey, We're the Philadelphia effing Flyers. We don't take crap like this.
Yeah.
And they beat the Capitals that night.
Right.
I think it was the Caps. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But Richards led by example when need be. And captains do that. They have to. And like I said, I don't see Callahan doing a whole hell of a lot because he's very irrelevant on this Rangers team. Oh. I've seen more from Brad Richards.
Maybe that's why they're looking to dish him. And he can be a great character player on another organization, help them make a playoff push.
Absolutely. Destinations-wise, I don't see him ending up in Philly. You were about to say Philadelphia, I think.
No,
you really weren't, because I thought you said, you'd be a nice player for Phil. You stopped yourself.
Fill-in player.
I thought you were going to say Philly. I was like, no, I don't see him as a Flyer, that's for sure. But I think, where would he wind up being? I guarantee you he'll probably watch him wind up on the Penguins.
Yeah.
He probably will wind up on the Penguins before this year is out.
They could use a player like that. I was thinking them. I was thinking Boston. I was also thinking the team that lit us up last night, San Jose. As well.
Yeah, San Jose does need a Callahan, I will say. Because Callahan, like I said, he's not a captain, but he's still a good player.
Right.
I'm not taking away from his playing ability. He's still capable of playing. But as a captain-wise, I don't see the leadership quality, So that's just my honest opinion. I really don't see it. I think the Rangers need a different captain at this point. They need a captain who does lead by example. Nash can't go there, that's for sure. I don't think Nash should be captain. I think Richards should be captain. If anybody should be the next captain for the Rangers, it's Brad Richards.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's Callahan, who might end up on the trading block. That's my pick. You said you might see him more in Boston or San Jose. I say he probably will wind up on the Penguins. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe St. Louis. Maybe, because St. Louis, I think, does need somebody like him because they do have a lot of offense, but I think the bit more structure up front might help them get that the solidity for that possible Stanley Cup run that I have them on.
He'd help them out with their face-off percentage.
Yeah, he definitely would because they're guilty of that every once in a while, giving up an odd goal. So I think that would definitely help their team final structure-wise.
Right.
So Ryan Callahan, one of them. Marty St. Louis.
That was the biggest shocker for me. Because Tampa's doing so well. Why would you try to trade one of your pieces of your puzzle?
I know. It's crazy. And St. Louis having a good year,
Is their captain right now?
I think he is. No, wait a minute. Is Stamkos their captain? Actually, I'm going to look that up just to be on the safe side because he might be Stamkos who might be their captain.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he's wearing the C for him out to injury because I saw a picture of him last night with the C on there. I'm like, so he's your captain. He's having a great year. Their team is having a great year. So let's think about trading him.
You're right. He's their captain. Stamkos is one of their alternates.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, they're thinking about like that. I would love to hear the rationale of why you would want to trade Amari St. Louis.
Maybe his age. That might be the only thing that could take him back. But I don't even think that's legitimate enough, to be honest with you. I really don't think so. Because this is a team that's had such a solid offense this year, and a lot of it from their rookies. Their rookies they're hot right now, man. They're scoring goals, and they are making it happen. They're one of the most dangerous offenses in the entire NHL right now. To me, I would just wait until the offseason to trade anybody. I'd wait for the offseason to prep this team for something else.
Agreed.
Because I think if they tamper with themselves in the trade deadline, they might jerk themselves right out of that playoff spot. They really might. I mean, they're second place in their division. They might be solid enough to be there for now. But we're talking about top 10 second-half runs. Who knows? Maybe the Red Wings or the Sens, they might get something going by the second half. Or the Maple Leafs, they might replace Tampa before you know it in this playoff.
Right.
So I'm just saying, not a good idea to tamper with your team if it's producing.
Right. Right.
But if he does wind up getting traded, where do you see St. Louis going?
Well, I think you just said it. Detroit?
Yeah, I could see him doing that because they've already got Alfredson. Add St. Louis to it. You got two really good veterans that just bump up this young team because it has become a more younger team.
And don't you think they'd want to try to find a replacement for Zetterberg, who now has just been ruled out for the season due to that herniated back injury?
That's a good point. And St. Louis is a good replacement to go with because Zetterberg's a goal scorer and he's got a nose for the net. Datsuk's more of the goal scorer. Zetterberg was more of that assister and that disher. St. Louis is the perfect replacement for him because that's what St. Louis' job is in Tampa Bay. So
exactly.
I think that's a perfect idea right there to put him in Detroit. And if not in Detroit, I'd say that he goes to Los Angeles. Los Angeles needs somebody that knows for the net.
Oh, they've been struggling for scoring.
They've been missing that scoring, and I think the Kings desperately need a St. Louis at this point. Right. They really do. Anaheim doesn't need him. It's definitely Los Angeles.
Yeah, and I mean, if he's setting up some of the other, because they got talent out there.
They do.
In the Flyers West out there,
Yeah.
But maybe not enough players dishing the puck, maybe being a little selfish with the puck.
See, here's the funny thing. Mike Richards and Jeff Carter, I think they're being more selfish with the puck than they were in Philly. And I think that's because in Philly, they don't have any of that. Where it's just like, if you're not willing to dish the puck, you're not willing to be a Flyer, you know?
Right.
Here, it's a more of a we attitude. In Los Angeles, it's more of a me attitude. And you could tell it's a me attitude out there. Because that's the kind of structure that they've been putting their team around. They've been basing it around Jeff Carter and Mike Richards and Dustin Brown and Anze Kopitar. That's fine. That's your main players. And Jonathan Quick, of course. But the thing is that what if it's just a me attitude? Where's the we? If there's no we, you're not winning many cups. You win one at most.
Right.
That's a little bit of a disappointment there because that team could win more, you know?
Absolutely. Well, whatever Marty St. Louis' final destination is, it's going to determine on what they're getting back because obviously they're in the running this year. They need something to fill some holes on their team.
Bringing up the Martin St. Louis, and this is going to get real interesting, he actually asked for a trade from the Lightning last month. Marty St. Louis actually wanted to leave the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it's not necessarily the Lightning that want him gone. It's St. Louis who wants to leave.
Oh, what is he unhappy with his playing? I mean, how
could
he be?
From what I know, Tampa, he's had, I guess, a feeling of maybe he wants to move on and go somewhere else. And maybe he wants to. I think he has a problem with Steve Yzerman because.
That's it.
Yeah. You
hit the nail right on the head. I knew it had to been something.
Yeah, he's had a problem with Steve Yzerman because he didn't get picked for Team Canada. Boo-hoo. Guess who also didn't get picked for Team Canada?
Hey, wait a minute. Can I change my biggest shithead to Stevie Yzerman? Wait a minute. All right, no. Too late.
Feel free. But, yeah, he definitely requested for a trade.
Okay, so that's why he's on the trading block.
He might be leaving very soon. I mean, like very, very soon, but way before we even talk about the day of the trade deadline. So I don't know. But there's a rumor rolling around he might be a Ranger.
Really?
Now, this could help the Rangers immensely because their offense has been okay, but it's been like the Flyers. It's been fluky at times where they've had odd goals scored. They had Danny Carcillo scoring 2 goals for them.
Right.
You know your offense isn't doing good if Carcillo's scoring 2 goals for you.
No doubt.
That's not good. That's really not good. And your top offensive players aren't really responding. Like Nash, he's been dead silent since he put on that red, white, and blue jersey. And Brad Richards has been the only workhorse on this team besides Danny Boyle that I could throw out there. And Zuccarello is another guy who really puts his heart and soul in. Hagelin, another guy who puts his heart and soul into it. And Kreider. But man, where else is there? There's no Callahan, who's your captain. There's no Rick Nash. These guys are supposed to be your main guys, and they're not stepping up to the plate. St. Louis, enter. You know, that just makes sense.
This might be an interesting situation here. Do you see maybe a Callahan from Marty St. Louis?
That's what the rumor's been based on.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of rumor that Callahan might go to the Lightning, who could provide a little bit more of a leadership structure for the rookies. St. Louis goes with more offensive prowess to the Rangers. Tampa Bay doesn't necessarily need more offense. The Rangers do. If the Rangers really want to solidify their second place berth, they need more offense. They really want to be a pain in the ass come playoff time, they need him.
Yeah, and Tampa could benefit from the two-way playing of Callahan, and maybe a little change of scenery could even up his game a bit,
maybe.
too.
It might be a need of changes. Maybe need a little change of scenery.
Not all players are meant to play in New York. We've learned that time and time again across multiple sports.
Yeah. Mark Messier does not fall into that category. But anyway,
No.
but nonetheless, that's some trade rumors rolling around with Ryan Callahan. And now with Ryan Callahan and Marty St. Louis, obviously we addressed that Ryan Miller might very well be leaving Buffalo. But there is another article that came out that Buffalo might be willing to re-sign him. but will Miller be willing to sign back?
Mm-hmm.
That's my question that I have. Miller's got to think long-term here. He's got to think, this team's not going to win a cup.
Get out while the getting's good.
Yeah, that's exactly what Miller's got to be thinking to himself. Like, I know I'm not winning a cup with this team. This team had a chance to win a Stanley Cup back when Danny Briere was on that team, and they shocked everybody. But when they got through the first round, they shocked the Flyers in the semifinals, and then they went to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they ran into a bit of a brick wall called the Carolina Hurricanes, who did eventually win the Cup that year. But here's the thing. Well, no, actually, it wasn't that. It wasn't that team. Buffalo got eliminated by another team. Was it Hurricanes? I'm trying to think who eliminated the Hurricanes that year, because I know that young rookie team shocked the Flyers in the semifinals. That was the good year Forsberg was around, and the Flyers looked like they were revamped. I forget who Buffalo lost to in that Eastern Conference final that year, because I don't think it was Carolina, or maybe it was.
Was it Ottawa?
No.
No, not Ottawa?
Maybe not. No, wait a minute. Was it Ottawa? Yeah, it was Ottawa. Because
okay.
I think, no.
Nope.
It was 2005. It had to be Carolina.
Yeah, it was
Carolina. It was 2005.
Ottawa was
I
2
knew
years
I was
later.
getting it somewhere, because 2006, it wasn't that case, you know? Yeah, all right, fine. Yeah, I got it now. Yeah. Got it down pat.
Sometimes it's better to think it out and get it right for the listeners and for us.
Yeah, it is always a better idea, because I know they shocked the Flyers that one year. That Buffalo Sabres team was really young and really had a lot of hope for it in the future. And they kind of choked twice in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then that was it. You didn't hear anything from them after that. So Carolina definitely, I think that for Ryan, he has to think long term. This team's not winning him a cup. This team's not barely is lucky to even get out of the basement at this point. So he's got to think about his future. His future really doesn't lie with the Sabres. He can't say he hasn't been loyal. He's been with the Sabres his whole career. It's time for him to move on. This chapter of his life is definitely written. I'd say Minnesota is definitely his best bet. And he could definitely help the Wild, because the Wild still has their goaltending problems. Backstrom has no excuse. He sucks. And Harding's, his MS keeps hurting him. You know, I hate to say that about him, but he's handicapped. And so I think that leads into Miller.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that just seems more logical. And I get why they, St. Louis, and you remind me of why they brought him in, why I called that guy a dumbass on Bleacher Report. The reason why is because Halak and Elliott injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
And Halak and Elliott have given up their fair share of odd goals. But if they're both healthy, there's no room for Miller. So that's a 1 year off thing. Future structure-wise, that's where he should end up, is in Minnesota. I don't know about you, but that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, possibly we're considering here, so they are injury-prone. Maybe you bring in a Miller and you dish one of them off for something else that you need, and that would certainly be an upgrade.
It's still an upgrade, and it's still like you could still do the same structural kind of setup where it is, oh, okay, you've got Elliott here or Halak here. I would go more with the Halak. But you got Halak here and you've got Miller. Either way you go, you're getting a good goaltending night.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe that's what St. Louis is thinking of for the future. But I still think Minnesota's more logical to get Miller and get him now, because they need goaltending and they need it badly, because they're basically irrelevant. They're lucky to make the playoffs at the wild card, and they're going to get beat in the first round because their team just struggles defensively. And then their goaltending doesn't help them. It doesn't help them at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, another spot that I could think of could potentially be Tampa Bay. You give them a Ryan Miller, watch out.
True, because Anders Lindbach's not going to cut it this year. I mean, he's a good goalie, but he's still got a lot of work he's got to do before he's really ready. He's tapping into his potential, though.
Right.
He is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's definitely come up. He's progressing each season nicely. Is he that clear-cut number one goaltender, though?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah.
He will be in the future, though.
Right.
He should be if everything falls right for him. Now we move on from Ryan Miller. We talked about him earlier on the show in a previous episode. We go to Andre Mazzaros. We're going to talk about a Flyer here. He might be eyed by Boston. Now, for Mazzaros to leave, that just take him away. Because in my opinion, I don't recall Mazzaros doing all that much for the Flyers. I really don't. When we traded him for Gagne, that was a stupid trade.
Oh, you're speaking like overall since we got him.
Overall since we got him.
Yeah,
He's
right.
done jack nothing.
Yeah. I mean, health has been a big issue for him. And
that
that's
is the
kinda
main
why.
reason why I say get rid of him, because he hasn't been healthy since he was on the Flyers.
This season he has been, and you've seen a certain upswing in his potential.
Yeah.
And his him moving in on the rush. He's played pretty inspired hockey this season.
In my opinion, too little, too late.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, I really think he's playing for. He knows that the Flyers are going to be looking to dish him soon.
Yeah,
The writing's on the wall. So he's using this season with the Flyers as well as, his Olympic performance to sort of springboard him into, a potential good location, help a team make a Stanley Cup run.
I mean, albeit I'm not a hater of Mazaros. I just don't see what he's done for this team. I really haven't. Even when we got him in 2011, he really didn't do much, and he was healthy through that entire season.
I was excited when we got him too, man.
And I thought he was going to really be something.
Yeah.
But now I realize that trading Gagne away, taking him away out of the comfort Philadelphia structure, basically sunk Gagne's career, and that at the same time made us weaker.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's another one of those moves where throw Paul Holmgren out the freaking window. It made no sense.
Definitely.
So I think it's time he goes to Boston.
Yeah, Boston would be a great fit for him. They could certainly use another blue liner, a man that's a little more offensive minded, can move in on the play, as I mentioned before. So that would be a great fit. The problem is I believe his first name's Craig, but defenseman Phillips from the Ottawa Senators is also on the trading block, and Boston may prefer him being a little younger.
If they get Craig Phillips and they don't want Mazaros, that's fine. We'll just find somebody who wants Mazaros and we'll just trade him.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's fine. I mean, maybe, which I don't think this could happen, maybe we could finagle Craig Phillips for Mazaros. Probably won't happen, but oh well.
Do a little three-team trade?
Yeah.
I like it.
Maybe play a little gamble here, why not? Hey, I'll take Craig Phillips. I'll take him. He's younger. He's got structure. Ottawa needs something, so I'll take him. Yeah. It's not like Ottawa's still fighting for a respark because they had it at the beginning, and now they don't have it anymore.
Here we go. Mazaros to Boston, Gustafsson to Ottawa, Craig Phillips to Philly.
I like it.
Not bad, right?
We give up a good goal. We give up good defensemen for an already good defenseman that's already ready for the playoffs and for the NHL. Mm-hmm. I think that's good because you know what? Who knows? You put Phillips with Streit, maybe Streit will do better.
Yeah.
Because Streit's been with Mazaros all year, and Timonen, but he's a geezer, just like Timonen. And Mazaros is getting up there, so younger guy might help to revamp a little bit.
Yeah, our blue line definitely closely resembles the Czech Republic. That's for certain.
Remember the Wheeze kids of the Philadelphia Phillies back in 1983 when they made the World Series?
Oh, sure.
When they lost the Orioles? That's what the Flyers' defense looks like. It's really bad.
Yeah.
So we move on with Mazaros, and one last thing rolling around here. We're going to throw a couple things out here before we hit break. Ryan Kessler actually requested a trade earlier this season to get out of Vancouver. Now, I want to bring this up just before we hit break because we are a little bit up against it, but do you see Kessler leaving Vancouver by trade deadline?
I do not.
I don't either. Now, why do you think he's leaving? I'll give you one name. And that one name begins with a J. His last name begins with a T. His middle name is asshole.
Wait, that was a big clue. I'm going to have to say John Tortorella?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
You won the prize. What do we have for him, Johnny? Anyway, let's just be honest here. I think that's probably half the reason why Kessler would want to leave. Because quite frankly, if I had to deal with John Tortorella, I would have been middle finger up in the air, said, fuck you, and I would have requested a trade. Because I don't want to put up with John Tortorella's bullshit.
Right.
And I definitely don't think anybody likes to put up with John Tortorella's bullshit.
Well, they interviewed Kessler last night, and this is why I said I don't think so, that they wouldn't move him, because he seems to be singing a different tune now, buying into what Vancouver's doing. Maybe it was the positivity from the Olympic experience that he had speaking, and now being back on the team, maybe he might get back to that more downtrodden type attitude that he had in the beginning of the season. But here's the thing, is that he just wants stability. He's been shifted over so many lines for that Vancouver organization. And why not just keep him with the Sedins, man?
Again, John Tortorella's bullshit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the teams that have been interested in him, I know that there's been a rumor that forward Sam Gagner was being thrown out there to possibly go to Vancouver, and then Kessler would go to the Oilers.
I like that.
That's a great trade for the Oilers. That's an okay trade for Vancouver because they get offense for offense with Gagner. And Gagner is a veteran, more of a veteran than Kessler, so that might actually help with the Sedin twins even more. But then again, there is also the chemistry factor that has to be thrown in there. Right. There's also other teams that have been interested. Columbus is interested in him, no doubt. They need a veteran. Kessler is perfect for them.
I could see that.
Because they're a high offensive team.
Right.
No doubt that Kessler would fit just fine in Columbus. The Rangers are interested in him, because they need offense. If they want to stay in second place, they need offense. The Red Wings, another one, no-brainer. Why? Because they need veterans, because their team's getting younger. Right. And Zetterberg is out, so no doubt why they've got to go with him. So those are teams that have been inquiring about the forward, and I could understand. They all have their respective reasons why they'd be interested in Ryan Kessler.
Right.
So that's just a quick little throw out there. We're going to take a break here on the Hockey Happy Hour, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the college hockey scene. And then after that, we're going to talk about our top 10 second half comebacks because, quite frankly, those are usually the epic ones that have won Stanley Cups. So that's what we're going to be talking about. We are the Hockey Happy Hour. Stick it right here. Keep it right here. Here's a little song, Tire Me, by Rage Against the Machine off of their best album, Evil Empire. We'll be right back.